Privacy is a form of emotional strength because it takes courage to guard the parts of yourself that the world often demands to see. In an age where every thought is encouraged to become a post, every achievement a status update, and every moment a story, choosing to remain private is an act of quiet rebellion. It is the choice to protect your inner world rather than expose it for approval. Privacy creates a sacred space where your thoughts can breathe freely without the pressure of being judged, compared, or interpreted. It gives you room to process things at your own pace, to feel deeply without the noise of the outside world, and to understand your emotions without the influence of others' opinions. When you choose privacy, you choose clarity. And that clarity becomes a powerful form of emotional grounding. People who value privacy understand their worth without needing a stage. They don't seek applause to validate their existence, nor do they measure their joy by how many people acknowledge it. Their happiness is internal, self-grown, and self-sustained. This kind of emotional independence is rare, because many people feel uncomfortable unless their life is constantly mirrored back to them by others. But those who embrace privacy have learned to sit with themselves. They know that their emotions are theirs to navigate, their healing theirs to protect, and their journey theirs to honor. Privacy allows them to stay rooted in who they truly are, rather than who the world expects them to be. There is a misconception that private people are hiding something, but the truth is they are preserving something. They are protecting their peace, their boundaries, and their sense of self. When you reserve parts of your life for yourself, you prevent others from shaping how you feel about it. You keep control over your narrative. You avoid the emotional exhaustion that comes from trying to explain yourself to people who may not understand. Privacy also strengthens emotional resilience. When you don't depend on external validation, you build confidence from within. You learn to trust your decisions, even when no one claps for them. You learn to believe in yourself, even when no one sees your progress. Private people often carry a quiet determination because their motivation doesn't come from visibility, it comes from purpose. Their goals are not fueled by impressing others but by fulfilling their own potential. This creates a deeper, more stable foundation for growth, one that cannot be shaken by opinions, trends, or temporary praise. Choosing privacy teaches you emotional discipline. It reminds you that not every feeling needs an audience and not every moment needs to be shared to be meaningful. Some of the most powerful transformations happen in silence, late at night when you're reflecting, early in the morning when you're planning, or during moments of stillness when you finally hear what your heart has been trying to say. Privacy gives these moments the weight and significance they deserve. It helps you build a relationship with yourself strong enough to hold you through challenges and humble enough to celebrate quietly when you succeed. In a noisy world, privacy becomes a form of luxury, a rare strength that only emotionally mature people understand. It means you can walk through life without constantly seeking permission or praise. It means you can maintain peace even when the world tries to pull you into chaos. It means your happiness does not depend on being seen, and your confidence does not depend on being acknowledged. Privacy is not emptiness, it is fullness reserved. It is not secrecy, it is maturity. And it is not fear, it is wisdom to know that your inner life is precious and not everyone deserves access to it. True confidence needs no audience because it is an internal state, born from self-awareness and self-acceptance rather than external validation. In a world that constantly asks for attention, recognition, and approval, it is easy to mistake visibility for worth. People often measure their value by likes, comments, praise, or acknowledgement, forgetting that true confidence is not performative. It does not rely on applause or recognition to exist, it is steady, unwavering, and independent of the gaze of others. True confidence is quiet because it has no need to prove itself. It is rooted in knowing who you are, what you value, and what you are capable of achieving, without seeking permission from anyone else. It is the difference between walking through a room knowing your own worth and needing the room to confirm it. When you have true confidence, your presence is enough, you do not need the spotlight, the likes, or the commentary to validate your being. People who embody this kind of confidence understand that insecurity often masquerades as loudness. Those who constantly seek attention, approval, or recognition are often trying to fill a void inside themselves. True confidence, on the other hand, is self-sustaining. It comes from confronting your fears, embracing your flaws, and accepting your strengths without comparison to others. It is knowing that your accomplishments are meaningful even if no one else notices them and that your failures do not diminish your worth. This kind of confidence is resilient because it is built on internal metrics, not on the fleeting opinions of others. It allows you to move through life with calm assurance, even when recognition is absent or delayed. True confidence is also born from authenticity. It comes from living in alignment with your values and your principles, rather than bending or performing for the approval of others. When you know who you are and act according to that knowledge, you no longer need a witness to confirm your choices. Decisions are made with clarity, actions are taken with purpose, and goals are pursued with dedication, not to impress others, but to fulfill personal aspirations. This self-driven approach eliminates the anxiety of comparison and the insecurity that arises when attention or praise is withheld. Confidence rooted in authenticity is unshakable because it does not depend on conditions outside your control. Another essential aspect of true confidence is the acceptance of vulnerability. Confident individuals understand that showing weakness, making mistakes, or experiencing failure does not diminish their value. In fact, it enhances their authenticity and strengthens their resilience. They do not require an audience to validate their struggles or successes because they trust their capacity to endure, learn, and grow. Confidence that needs no audience embraces the full spectrum of human experience without fear of judgment. It does not hide behind facades or carefully curated personas because it knows that being genuine is more powerful than being approved. Moreover, true confidence allows individuals to maintain composure under scrutiny. When faced with criticism, doubt, or misunderstanding, a confident person remains grounded. They do not need to explain themselves to prove worth because they are secure in their identity and abilities. This kind of emotional strength creates freedom, allowing one to take risks, pursue unconventional paths, and explore personal growth without being tethered to societal expectations. Confidence that needs no audience thrives in solitude and reflection, and it flourishes even when accolades are absent. Growth is most powerful when it happens quietly because true transformation is rarely loud or immediate. It is subtle, gradual, and often invisible to the outside world. In a society that celebrates visible success, public milestones, and immediate results, quiet growth can be easily overlooked or undervalued. Yet, those who understand its power know that the most profound changes occur away from the spotlight, in moments of reflection, self-discipline, and introspection. Quiet growth is not concerned with applause, recognition, or external validation. It thrives in patience, persistence, and inner work, slowly reshaping thoughts, habits, and perspectives until the transformation becomes undeniable, not because it was displayed, but because it was deeply rooted. This kind of growth builds resilience and authenticity because it is nurtured in private spaces where distractions, judgments, and comparisons cannot interfere. It is a growth that is self-sufficient, emerging from personal understanding and self-commitment rather than from societal expectations. When growth happens quietly, it allows for honesty and vulnerability. In public, people often feel pressured to present a polished version of themselves, one that hides flaws, struggles, and doubts. Quiet growth, on the other hand, permits mistakes and setbacks to exist as part of the journey rather than as moments of shame. It encourages self-reflection, a careful analysis of where one was, where one is, and where one wishes to go. In these private moments of growth, individuals learn to confront uncomfortable truths about themselves, to recognize their limitations, and to develop strategies for improvement without the pressure of performing for others. They cultivate patience with themselves and with life, understanding that meaningful change cannot be rushed or artificially constructed. Quiet growth also fosters emotional intelligence. When change is internalized rather than broadcast, people become attuned to their own emotions, triggers, and thought patterns. They learn to respond rather than react, to manage impulses, and to navigate challenges with calmness and clarity. This emotional awareness, cultivated in the privacy of reflection, strengthens relationships, decision-making, and personal stability. It creates a sense of balance and self-mastery that cannot be achieved through external validation or attention-seeking. Growth that unfolds quietly hones resilience because it equips individuals to face life's inevitable challenges with confidence, grounded in their own strength rather than in the opinions or support of others. Furthermore, growth in silence nurtures humility. Those who develop themselves without broadcasting every success learn to appreciate the journey rather than the accolades. They understand the value of effort, patience, and consistency, recognizing that true accomplishment is measured by internal progress rather than by external acknowledgement. This humility allows individuals to remain focused on what truly matters, avoiding distractions created by comparison or competition. They develop a deep sense of gratitude for personal evolution and for the lessons learned along the way. In doing so, they create a life built on substance rather than on appearances, and on authenticity rather than performance. In a world obsessed with visibility, applause, and constant validation, the power of quiet strength, private confidence, and unseen growth cannot be overstated. Those who choose not to share every detail of their lives, who cultivate confidence without an audience, and who evolve away from the spotlight embody a form of wisdom that is rare and profound. Their journey teaches us that life's most meaningful victories are not always the ones displayed on screens or broadcasted for attention, they are the victories of the heart, mind, and spirit. Choosing privacy, self-assuredness, and silent growth allows individuals to nurture authenticity, resilience, and emotional depth, creating a life rooted in true self-awareness rather than superficial recognition. These choices are not acts of avoidance but acts of courage, discipline, and intentionality. They remind us that our value is inherent, not contingent on approval, and that real progress does not need witnesses, it only needs dedication. In the end, the quiet path may seem less glamorous, but it leads to strength that endures, peace that sustains, and a fulfillment that is unshakable. Embracing silence, cultivating internal confidence, and honoring private growth is not just a choice, it is a declaration that your life, your journey, and your worth belong first and foremost to you.